You're listening to 15 Minutes, where we feature community leaders sharing what the rest of us should know but likely don't. Hi, Chad Franson here, one of the hosts of Share Your Voice, where we talk with top-notch law firms and lawyers about what it takes to grow a successful law practice. This episode is brought to you by Gladiator Law Marketing, delivering tailor-made services to help you accomplish your objectives and maximize your growth potential. To have a successful marketing campaign and make sure you're getting the best ROI, your firm needs to have a better website and better content. Gladiator Law Marketing uses artificial intelligence, machine learning, and decades of experience to outperform the competition. To learn more, go to gladiatorlawmarketing.com, where you can schedule a free marketing consultation. My guest today is Mitchell Panter, managing partner of Panter Sampedro, a personal injury law firm based in Miami, Florida. He is a board-certified civil trial attorney and has been practicing for over 35 years. Mitchell, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
My pleasure. Let me correct you to start off with. It's Panter and Sampedro.
I'm so sorry,
I don't necessarily know that.
Sorry
no
about
problem.
That.
But that's a great start for your show. The first thing, get the name right.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, so tell me what inspired you and your brother, Brett, to open a personal injury law firm in Pinecrest?
Well, we've been here for more than 30 years. We started off a little bit differently. My brother we both went to University of Miami Law School. He got out of school, went to work with a sole practitioner gentleman. They did primarily insurance defense, things of that nature. Brett got into doing some personal injury with his partner, and they had a nice little firm, just the two of them. It was actually across the street from where we are currently. I, on the other hand, also went to University of Miami Law School. However, I graduated. I worked for an insurance defense firm for the first 5 years out. I was doing pretty much cases all around the country, if not all around the state. I did some oyster defective cases. I did some negligence cases, learned the insurance industry trade and how to do things from the insurance perspective, the defense side. And I did that for enough years that I decided, okay, the time was right. So I joined up with Brett. We subsequently bought a building across the street from where our office was. We've been in this, we call it the Panter building, for more than 30 years now. We do personal injury work. We originally started off, I did a little insurance defense, a little landlord tenant, a little bit of criminal work, a little bit of family work. Any young lawyer when you're starting off does door law, whatever walks in the door. But we were able to fortunately grow to good stature that we're at now. We're 5 lawyers, 15 staff altogether. We represent people injured due to the negligence of others and do what we hope and think is a really good job.
At what point did you know you wanted to become an attorney, and how do you think that happened?
I get this question all the time. Young, very young. I like to argue and I like to do these sort of things. And so at an early age, I knew the beauty with law is you don't necessarily have to pigeonhole yourself. So you can determine that you want to be this type or that type. Much like medicine, a doctor, you can be a cardiologist, a radiologist, a pathologist, a primary guy, ear, nose, and throat, whatever. So with law too. That's one of the things when I speak to young people that are going to law school or just starting out, try different fields, see what you like. A lot of it depends on who's your first job and what kind of work do you get for your first job. I was fortunate. I worked for a sole practitioner during law school. I also worked for a clerk for a larger personal injury, very well-respected firm. And so I learned a little bit about the field. As I said, I did a little criminal work. I did a little landlord tenant work. I did a little insurance defense, but this was the area of law that I really wanted to focus on and do, and continue to, make my steps to make that happen.
Yeah, what sets personal injury apart from some of those other ones that you kind of also were familiar with and had experience with?
Not billable hours. You can have a life. You help people. When I was doing landlord tenant work, we represented at the time Edward J. DeBartolo, which owned all the malls in the country, if not in the state of Florida. And the work was good. It was billable hour work, and it was interesting. And dealing with landlords and tenants and things like that. And it was okay. Insurance defense was you're representing an insurance company, the devils, the guys with the bad hats, the black hats, that really didn't care about people. It was about dollars and cents. And, to some extent that was good because it gave me great insight into what they're looking for, how they evaluate cases. But plaintiff work, you help people, people that, and we're fortunate in the sense that we're able to, at this point in our career, pick cases that are good cases, that have merit, that have real issues, that we're able to represent people injured due to the negligence of others and hold people accountable and responsible. So, this area of law I like. Criminal law was tough. I mean, I was helping, good people in bad times, bad people in good times, however those phrases go. But that just wasn't the kind of law that I wanted to do. I have many friends that do that, and they're stellar and they're great, and it's constitutional and it's interesting. But this area of law, and we'll get into it a little bit, how we differ ourselves from other people to represent them and help them, both from when they first come in the door and for their lifetimes. That's an important aspect of our practice.
So, you work with your brother along with David Sampedro. Can you explain the importance of family in your business ethos?
It works or it doesn't. It's as easy as that. I've run into many people that have their wife, their mother, their cousin, their aunt, their uncle, and they work with, and it's one of those things. If it works, it's a trustworthy, somebody that you don't have to second guess. We are very different in the way we view things. And high, low, sideways. But it gives us both the opportunity to bounce things off each other wonderfully. David joined us many years ago and is our younger brother in all respects, in all aspects. Our kids have all grown up together, and we've seen them, flourish. When you have family that works, it's wonderful. It's a family atmosphere that we have here. We have 15, 16 people, and every day at 3:00, I go and I make Cuban coffee, and we sit and we talk and we hang out. That's a Miami thing, Cuban coffee, in case you didn't get that. But we try to generate a family environment. We talk to our clients, we communicate with them. We respect who they are and what they're going through. So the family environment spreads from the top down and throughout our entire firm.
What do you think? Kind of, you alluded to it just a little bit earlier. What do you think sets you guys unique? Sets you guys apart as unique in family law practice?
I'll give you a classic example, and it's a case. So we had a case recently that we resolved for a woman that was injured catastrophically. I mean, she was pretty badly hurt in an accident, and we were able to come up with a good resolution to the case, and it was a sufficient amount of money. And our goal was not to just give this person a check and say, "Go be on your merry way." We realize and understand that this person is going to have difficulties in working in the future, in earning a living, difficulties with medical expenses, difficulty with needs to remodel her house, to get a new car, all those sort of things. So, your typical lawyer, here, give me my check for my money, and here's your check, go away. What we like to do, and what we've done with many clients, and especially with children, one of the things that we feel really strongly about is when we settle a case for a minor or an incompetent person, that we protect them. The courts have systems with guardianships and conservators and things like that we've all heard of lately. But we want to make sure that this person is taken care of. So what we were able to do is give them X amount of dollars, but also to set up an annuity, a structured settlement, so that during the course of their life, this person was 24 years old and hopefully will live a nice long life. In year 5, in year 10, in year 15, in year 20, they're going to get a check, and a check, instead of just this one lump sum check that the people are going to come out of the woodwork to handle them and to take their money. But now we've set up college funds for students. So I settled the case for an 8-year-old little boy. And that kid now is 18 years old and is going to have a college fund. So what that means is that starting at age 18 for 4 or 5 years, every month they're going to get a check for $500 or $1,000, which will pay their rent or pay their college. At age 25, they're going to get a $5,000 check. At age 30, they're going to get a $10,000 check. At age 35, they're going to get a $25,000 check. And rather than have that money and spend it foolishly, or have the parents or others that are caring for them spend it inappropriately, this child now, or this person now who became an adult or incompetent now that has to have care for them, will be protected. And so we feel it's our duty, our obligation, morally, not legally, because legally I can give them their money and send them on their way. But morally, we do a little bit more than other people. We want to make sure that these people are protected and are safe and secure and have their future taken care of. And so, we feel strongly about those sort of things and do our best to help people with that.
Very nice. You mentioned children. Did you often, over the past 35 years, bring your kids into the office when they were growing up? And if so, how did that affect their
I'm a proud dad, and I will tell you, yes, both of my kids are lawyers. My older son is a lawyer in New York City in a totally different field. He works for what's called big law. So he's in downtown New York City with his wife, and they both work in big law and do that kind of practice. My younger son is an attorney in Atlanta. He does employment law, so he represents people that are wrongfully terminated or abused or harassed on their job. So the answer is yes. We would frequently have bring your kid to work day. And whether it was a hearing, whether it was a trial, whether it was just sitting around the office or signing up clients. But more importantly, I was in my younger days, and I still do it to this time, appointed by the court as what's called a guardian. So when a case is settled involving a minor child, the court, if it's over a certain amount of dollars, will appoint a guardian. That's an independent person to review the case, to make sure that it's settled correctly and resolved correctly. So I would at times bring my kids with me so they would see this is what we do and this is why we do it. I remember specifically going to a disabled child's home that got a good recovery, and bringing my child there and letting them know, hey, I'm going to review, I'm going to make sure that the family knows what they're doing in terms of caring for the child financially, that the lawyers are doing the right thing in caring for the child financially. I would bring that to them and instill in them that law is more than a profession; it's a calling, and we have the opportunity to do good things for people. A lot of bad stuff out there, and you hear the bad, you don't hear the good stuff. But so this is my pitch to you: there is good people doing good things to help people, and that's what we try to do every day.
Is there like a milestone or a moment that you look back on with the firm Panter and Sampedro, and you're particularly proud of?
Every day. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. I come to work. I like coming to work. We've had good staff that's been with us for many, many years because we treat them nicely. We have that family environment. I enjoy coming into the office. I make the Cuban coffee at 3:00. We bring in the bagels. We bring in the donuts. We keep everybody happy. We do the best that we can to make it a calm and safe and good work environment. We're close to home. Everybody that works here lives close to home, so coming and going is easy. We just try to make it a good place to work, and I'm proud of that.
When you've encountered challenging times, I'm guessing it always hasn't been 100% smooth. How have you and your brother Brett kind of persevered through challenging times?
Well, the challenging times was the last few years. We had that whole COVID situation, and you open the office, you close the office, you send people home because they sneezed. You keep things moving slowly, surely, cautiously, with everybody's best abilities to do what they can do, but safety and security. I mean, as we went through COVID, we stayed open. We maintained it. If somebody needed to take time off, they did. If somebody was sick, they quarantined. We did what needed to be done. We've had great cases that have been very lucrative, and we've shared the wealth. We've had lean times where we've had to work really hard and just tell everybody, hey, stick with us and do well. So, we've been at it for a while, so we're good. We're solid. We advertise quite a bit, and as a result of that, it brings in a lot of diverse clients and cases and things. So we do our best in good times and bad times to maintain the flow and to be consistent with everything.
If you are able, if somebody is able to work with family, what do you think is an advantage, the biggest advantage of running kind of a family type business in the legal industry?
Well, any industry, it's not necessarily legal. You could be a doctor, you could be an Indian chief, you could be an architect. To work with family, you're now those 8-10 hours a day that you're out of the house. You're not. You got your wife, your brother, your cousin right next to you, so you better make sure you get along with them. And on the holidays, you're going to spend those holidays with them, and you're going to talk shop and do those sort of things. So there's pros and there's cons. Each individual circumstance is different. If it's, you need to be fair, you need to be open, you need to be clear. If your wife is managing the books, she's going to know that. And that's an interest in, they have more of a personal interest in things. So, if you got a case in and the bills are being paid and your wife or your brother or your cousin is the one paying them, they're going to be a little bit more cautious. They're going to make sure the bills are appropriate and everything's paid correctly. So those are the pluses. The minuses, I don't really know because we do it. You're dealing with that person, I don't know about 24/7 because you sleep, but now 16 out of 24, you're with that person. both at home, or even if you live in separate homes, if it's not your wife, if it's your spouse, your brother, your holiday times are together, your vacation together, you do those sort of things. So it doesn't work for everybody, but if it works for you, the divorces that occur in family businesses are uglier than anywhere else, and we've all seen them and heard them. So you need to protect yourself, and you still, even though it's family, you still want to do things legally, you still want to do things in writing, and you still want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on and is treated fairly and appropriately.
How do you kind of ensure consistent communication amongst the partners?
Talk. I belong to several business groups, and it's really amazing. And pardon my French, but my motto, and everybody tells me about this, is answer the goddamn phone. And that applies to the phone, that applies to the emails, that applies to the faxes, to the text, to the calls. Talk. My wife always yells at me. Everybody's wife always yells at you. Pardon my sexism. Communicate. And whether it's the Florida bar telling lawyers to communicate, or your spouse or your clients, communicate. Talk to people. Let them know what's going on, whether it's an emotional feeling, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a legal question. Communications is key.
Last question for you, but first tell me how people can find out more about Panter and Sampedro.
Sure, you said it right, correct. Very good, thank you. It's panterlaw.com. That's PANTERLAW.com. My specific email is mpanter@panterlaw.com. We're here, we're available, we communicate with people throughout the country, if not throughout the world. We live in a really different world now. You can communicate with somebody anywhere in the world. So we've got cases from people traveling here. Miami is pretty much a central location when people come to travel from Europe, from Asia, from South America, get in accidents, have incidents, have a need for an attorney here. And so we're happy to help. We formed many years ago what's called the Panter Network. So we've got a group of more than 150 lawyers that can do real estate closings, criminal work, civil work, immigration matters. No matter what your legal needs are, give us a call. If we don't do it in-house, we've got a skilled, qualified, competent attorney that we can refer you to. Again, that's panterlaw.com. Feel free to give us a call, email us, any questions you might have. We're happy to respond.
Last question for you. If you were to give advice to somebody who was thinking about starting, a business with family, what kind of advice would you give them, beyond what they already know from their work experience?
Make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Test drive. Don't just say, oh, he's my brother, he's my cousin, he's my wife, and it'll work. Test drive it. Make sure that it works for you. Not every relationship works. Not every relationship is the best. Not every relationship will stand the test of time. So test drive it. Make sure it works. And again, that big bad word, communication. Know what you're getting yourself into. Have a written document confirming what's going on. Don't think that just because it's family that you can trust the goodwill of everybody. Make sure it's written down, the rules, the responsibilities, the duties of everybody, and pay attention and update and periodically speak to people. Is this working for you? What can we do different? That's pretty much it.
Okay, great. Hey, Mitchell, it's been great to talk to you. We've been speaking with Mitchell Panter from Panter and Sampedro. Thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So long, everybody. Thanks for listening to 15 Minutes. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.